Let's start with the prayers. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shruniyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhiryajatraha Stirairangaihi Stushtovagam Sashtanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuho Swastina Indro Vrittashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastakshorarishthanemihi Swasti no brihaspati'r dadato Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Adhyasa Bashyam by Shankaracharya. That's our topic for study today. This text is a very, very important text for all seekers who are interested in the moksha aspect of the Veda. Many people study the Veda, chant the Veda. Very, very few people go after the goal of moksha sadhana. Dharma, artha, kama, these three purusharthas are very common. But moksha is freedom from samsara, freedom from birth, life cycle. It is a very, very important content of the Veda, which many people miss it. The study of Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and Brahma Sutra, if it is studied with the goal of moksha, then this particular commentary by Shankaracharya is absolutely critical. We must know this Bhashya. During the last several weeks, I have spoken on 14 sections of this Bhashya. Today, we will take up the 15th and the 16th section, and then a quick summary of the entire 16 sections. When we study the basic texts, there could be doubts regarding three aspects of Veda. One is called as Pramana Gata Sandeha. The second is called as Prameya Sandeha. Sandeha means doubt. Pramata Sandeha. Pramana Sandeha means doubts whether freedom from samsara is the central theme of the entire scriptures. Is Shastra meant for freedom from birth and death? What is the central theme of the Veda? Is it Jiva Brahma Aikyam, the oneness between Jiva and the ultimate reality? Is that the central theme? So these are all called as Pramana Gata Sandeha. Prameya Gata Sandeha means this Brahman or this reality, does it exist? So anything regarding the ultimate reality is the object of Sandeha, the doubt. That is Prameya Gata Sandeha. And the last one is Pramata Gata Sandeha, means I am the Pramata, I am the knower in this body. I am with a limited mind. Can I ever understand the limitless nature of the reality? Self-doubt. So 3 doubts. One regarding whether I can reach it. One, what is the central theme? And third, does the reality exist? All these 3 can be answered by this Bhashyam. So those who have studied the 14 sections so far with me, you would appreciate Adhyasa or superimposition is the cause, absolutely the basic fundamental cause for all our activities, including this study. And ignorance of the self, ignorance of the reality is very well explained in the Upanishads. The doubts are basically cleared when we understand that the entire life is based on Adhyasa. That is what we have seen in the last verse which we finished, which is the 14th verse. Let's now go to the 15th verse, which is our topic for study today.
Evamayam anadirananto naisargikaha adhyaso mithya pratyaya rupaha kartatva bhoktritva pravartakaha sarvaloka pratyakshaha asyan arthahetoh prahanaya atmaikatva vidya pratipatyaye sarve vedanta arabhyante.
So Shankaracharya in this verse and the next verse gives his concluding remarks about Adhyasa, the superimposition. In this particular verse, he basically says it is beginningless, endless, and it is natural. So we cannot ask the question, when did I have this superimposition? When did it all start? Was it in this birth? Was it in the previous birth? Number 1. Number 2, will it ever end? These are the 2 fundamental questions our intellect will ask. This Adhyasa has been going on for birth after birth. Because according to the Veda, we have had several births. And it is of the nature of illusion. I get a cognition that I am a doer, I am a enjoyer. This is a universal phenomena. Swami Chinmayananda calls this manufacturing defect of the creator. So when the creator created the human beings, he put this Adhyasa into it so that people will never know what the reality is. They will reach the reality. Then they are really serious to know about themselves. Attainment of the realization of the oneness. What is this oneness we are talking about? We experience ourselves, this body and mind, we experience the world, which is other than the body. All of us. Our eyes are perceiving this world in this way of duality. What Vedanta says is, this is an appearance. It is like a dream which comes and goes. This is the basic assumption of the Veda and Shankaracharya when he takes up this Bhashya. It is an appearance like a dream. It is mithya. Mithya is a word, it's a technical word, it needs a lot of explanation. And that is this word mithya, adhyasa, all this you find in advanced texts. In basic texts, you will not find these technical terms explained in a big way, especially Mahavakya Vichara. When you do in the Upanishads, then you take up all these words about ajnanam, the definition of ajnanam, ignorance, then mithya, satyam. All these are technical words, but they have a very deep meaning, and they all help us to understand in our own self there is something which we don't know. This is a very, very long journey of the intellect trying to go inward looking with the torch of Vedanta and trying to know itself. So this particular verse, it says evam. Evam means what? Thus, Adhyasa is all pervasive factor. It refers to all the 14 previous sections, which said that superimposition is total in our life. And it affects every portion of our life. Right from the time we wake up in the morning till the night when we go to sleep, Adhyasa is there throughout our operations. I am Anadi, Anantaha, Naisargikaha. Anadi means beginningless. Anantaha means limitless, endless. Naisargika means natural. This superimposition is beginningless, endless, and natural. This shows the power of Adhyasa, which is caused by avidya, which is ignorance. Many a times in your life, in your day-to-day life also, you will find how you just observe your mind and then you try to see how this Adhyasa plays on us. Suppose you have lost a key to the house. You have kept somewhere and you have lost it. And then you see how your mind plays all the tricks. That is what is called as Adhyasa. I'm sure all of you must have experienced it. Maybe I lost it in the market. Maybe I kept it inside the other room. Maybe I locked the door with the key inside the house. So many questions will be there. Your mind is projecting because you don't know where you have lost the key. So similarly, a rope snake example is given. You see something on the road, you don't know what it is, and your mind projects. That is what is called as Adhyasa. So the basic thing in Adhyasa is ignorance. You don't know the reality. So when it comes to the bigger aspect of this Adhyasa or superimposition, it reaches the level of the self. Who am I? Because I don't know that I am the pure consciousness, pure existence, which I am in my sleep state. In the sleep state, it is easy to understand because I am there as the pure consciousness and pure existence, but it is covered. The nature, my nature is covered in the sleep state, and that is what is called as tamas, darkness. That wheeling nature gives rise to the entire projection of the waking and the dream. This is what is the essence of the Mandukya Upanishad, verse 5 and 6. So coming back here, what I want to say is that there is a power. Like the fire has got a power to burn, this ignorance about the self has the power to confuse us. And it did not start yesterday, and it is continuously there. Every thought, every moment, every breath, it is there. Anumatrenapi na sambadhyate. It does not touch even a wee bit on the real self. We are born, we live, we die, and reborn again in Adhyasa, in ignorance, according to the Shastra. This is what the Shastra tells us, that this ignorance about your nature you have had for several births. Come to the Shastra and learn the real self, that you are the supreme reality. The substratum of the entire universe is your real nature. That is what is said in the Mahavakya. That is what is said in the Upanishads. That is what is brought about as the central theme of Brahma Sutra. The Bhagavad Gita also teaches the same essence. We need the eye of the Shastra to understand this aspect of the reality. And it is possible to remove this ignorance once and for all through the study of the scriptures. Anantaha also means we have no freedom. We don't have an escape. It's natural for it to go on and on. It's a part and parcel of our own lives. This Adhyasa is mithya. Mithya means it is false. It is an appearance. It exists for some time and then it goes away. It exists during the waking state. It goes off in the sleep state. Again, this comes in the waking state. Again, it goes off in the sleep state. So this cycle is continuously there. I do not control this. Waking, dream, sleep is a three-pronged process of all of us. And it is not in our control, it is in the controller or is in the control of Ishvara, the creator, the one who has produced all the human bodies, in which the jivas enter, experience, and go back. Enter, experience, go back. But this experience, which is created by Adhyasa, Maya, Ajnanam, all these are synonymous. It will come to an end. Therefore, in Sanskrit, we say bhadyate. It comes to an end. Pratiyate bhadyate iti mithya. Pratiyate means it appears. Is it Satyam? No, it is not Satyam because it is not there in 3 periods of time. What is there in 3 periods of time? I, the consciousness, I, the pure self, am there. But the body and the world come and go, they are pratiyate, appear and disappear. Bhadyate. Therefore, the term used for this type of a phenomena, it is called as mithya. It is not satyam, it is not asat. Satyam means it exists forever. Asat means it never exists, like the sky flowers. In between these two, there is a third category which experienced by us. It is called as mithya. This is a technical word designed by Advaita Vedanta, and it is explained very well in Chandogya Upanishad. We don't have to be over worried or about this mithya prapancha, about all our experiences which affect our mind only, because the Upanishads very clearly say you are ever free from superimposition. I am asangaha. I am always not connected with these appearances which come and go. When these appearances are there, they will create doership, enjoyership, kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam. Pravartakaha means we are forced to experience this nature of the mind. Doership, enjoyership is samsara. Continuously I'm doing, I'm acting, I'm enjoying. Throughout our life, if you want to use two words for your experiences, karta, bhokta, that's all. Throughout my life, I'm a doer. Throughout my life, I'm an enjoyer of the world. That's all. Doer in this body, enjoyment from the world. Or sometimes we also have suffering. This joy and sorrow is what is called as samsara. It troubles our whole life and life after life. Every minute we are a karta. Every minute we are a bhokta. We get different bodies. Bodies of even devatas, gandharvas, celestial beings. They're all in different realms of the worlds, the 14 lokas, but they all have the sukham and dukkham, which is the result of actions. The karta in this body alone becomes the bhokta. I do action today, but I don't get the result immediately. I do some good actions, like I perform a good ritual, but the effect of that comes later. Adhyasaha sarvaloka pratyaksha. We have faculty to reflect. It is adhyasa sarvaloka pratyaksha means it is seen in. This adhyasa is experienced in all the worlds. But we have a faculty to reflect and to know who we are. So each one of us can understand, who am I in this body? We can reflect. That is what Vedanta is supposed to do. This is a path of inquiry. Inquire about your nature. You will discover you're not the 5 koshas, you're not the 3 bodies, you're not the 3 avasthas. When we come to know this through the study of Upanishads, we can change our mind, our behavior, and our private world in which we live throughout the day. What is our private world? My mind projecting thoughts after thoughts internally is my own private world, which I am experiencing. Another person is experiencing his own or her own private world. Your daughter's private world means her thoughts, what she is thinking. Your mother may be thinking different. Your father may be thinking. You may be thinking different. Every person has a private world of thoughts. And this private world is what is called as jivatvam, individuality. The outside world is common to all of us. That is created by Ishvara. That is created by the Lord so that we can come, enjoy our experiences and go back. Adhyasa anartha hetoho prahannaya. The source of all calamity, troubles in our life is Adhyasa. Atmaikatva vidya pratipattaye sarve Vedanta arabhyante. The Vedanta is a study of Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and Brahma Sutra. In order to destroy this Adhyasa, this superimposition, which is a notion in my mind, it is a cognition. There is a change in my mind which is required in the intellect, in the buddhi. So the entire Bhashyam commentary is for our own intellect to reflect and realize that I am a pure, conscious person. In truth, we are the self, one with the reality. That reality is called as Brahman. Oneness between the individual body and the world. There is some oneness is there which our sense organs cannot perceive. Our mind cannot conceive, but it exists. What is the proof? The Shastra is the proof. I believe what the Shastra is saying is the truth, and I can be from sorrow from my life. That is how a seeker proceeds, with faith in the Shastra. Vidya pratipadyate. To attain this one self as Brahman, as the reality, is the path of knowledge. Sarva Vedanta arabhyate. All scriptures, they start with the purpose. Twofold purpose is there. We have to prove that Vishayas in this world, asya anartha hetoho. The Vishayas are false in nature. They only appear. They do not affect the Atma. The second prayojanam, these are established in Vedanta. Two things. One is the Vishaya, the world, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. So Jagan Mithyatvam is this Vishaya, Mithyatvam. Prayojanam, what is the prayojanam of having this knowledge? What is the benefit of this knowledge? I destroy my Adhyasa. Whatever I have been taking myself as, I completely eliminate that and I say, I am the pure Atma. The source of all calamity, which is ignorance, is destroyed when we remove this Adhyasa in our intellect. What is moksha? We all have a sense of limitation that we are the body and mind complex. The destruction of this notion of limitation is what is called as moksha. Our real nature is not this body or mind or what we see or experience as the world. Brahma Atmaikatva Vidya. Jiva Brahmaikatva Vidya. There is oneness between the individual and the total. That oneness is a reality. Once I come to know that reality, I am free because that is my real nature. And when I am an individual being, it is a product of avidya. It is a product of adhyasa. Suppose I think I am a body, I am an individual. For the purpose of vyavahara, we need this adhyasa. But to know who I am, we don't need the Adhyasa. We should be very clear. In our day-to-day life, go ahead and be the body and mind and conduct the entire life, because that we cannot stop. That is prarabdha karma predominantly. We will not be able to change our actions in the world. What we can change is to know who I am. Before the study, I take myself automatically as the body or the mind. We have seen that Adhyasa of what happens when we take ourselves as the body, what happens when we take ourselves as the mind. We have seen that through in the 14 sections. The study of this Adhyasa Bashyam is a very deep study. It is a personal reflection of oneself. I am not the body, mind, I am the pure consciousness, which is the indweller in this body. That is what Lord Krishna teaches in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, verses 12 to 25. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva na bhavita na bhoyah ajo nityam shashvato yam puranaha na hanyate na hanyamane sharire. I am unborn. This is that unborn self. This is that pure self, which Lord Krishna taught Arjuna. And towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, my moha is destroyed. Moha is destroyed in the 66th verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter. He says, my moha is destroyed. Sarva dharman parityajya. I have renounced all the dharmas, including my mind, body, all the dharmas I have renounced. And I have surrendered to the self. So Adhyasa Bashyam is very important to understand the Bhagavad Gita. We are going to study from next week all the Upanishads. We are going to study 12 Upanishads. Every Upanishad, you will be using this instrument called as Adhyasa. That is why the study of this Adhyasa is very, very important, very critical, and I've spent quite a bit of time to explain this 16 sections of beautiful section of Shankaracharya. It will really serve as a tool to understand and open. This is the master key to open the secret of Upanishads. Now we go to the last section, the 16th section.
यथा च अयम् अर्थः यथा च अयम् अर्थः सर्वेषां वेदान्तानां तथा वयम् अस्यान् शरीरकमीमांसा यां प्रदर्शयिष्यामः.
How this Adhyasa is the essence in all the Upanishads which we need to remove, we shall explain that in the Sharirika Mimamsa. Adhyasa Bashyam was written by Shankaracharya before he wrote the commentary of Brahma Sutra. So this is what he says. I'm going to write a commentary on Brahma Sutra, which is otherwise called as Sharirika Mimamsa. This is another name for Brahma Sutra. Yatha cha ayam artaha. This is the actual meaning, import of all the Vedanta. Sarvesham Vedantanam Upanishad. By knowing the self as one reality, you put an end to all your problems. So who am I? All of us, if we have to give one common answer, we can only say, I am Atma, I am Brahman. Because I am that reality from which this entire Jagat is appearing in the waking state, and it gets dissolved in the sleep state. Again, it comes in the waking state, again it gets dissolved. Become liberated from your suffering, which you have been carrying as a package, life after life. Our sorrows in life are all projections of our mind. Thoughts in the form of thoughts, vrittis. When you stop that vritti creation, you will realize you are the substratum from which all these thoughts are springing up. This knowledge of the self is the essential subject in Brahma Sutra and Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. Tatha vayam asyam sharirika mimamsayam padartha ishyamaha. We will show in Sharirika Mimamsa, that means in Brahma Sutra, we will show Brahma Sutra consists of about 555 sutras. Sutras means they are all small sentences, cryptic sentences, which gives the essence of Upanishads. And these are all selected. Each of these sutra represents one mantra from the Upanishad. And it will explain to us what is the essence. When you understand that mantra, when you understand these sutras, you will come to realize they all talk about the oneness. That is what Shankaracharya is saying here. All Upanishads deal with Atmaika Vidya. Brahma Sutra gives a panoramic view of the Upanishads. In the Vedanta students website, I have the entire Brahma Sutra commentary in the form of notes. But that should be studied after you have studied the Upanishads. For those who have done some Upanishads, who are very, very keen, you can go to that section and go through the Brahma Sutra portions. The first chapter, 4 chapters are there. First chapter is very, very important of the Brahma Sutras. And hopefully we will take it up after we finish the study of Upanishads. Upanishads are basically 10 major Upanishads where Shankaracharya has given a commentary. Ishavasya Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad, Mundak Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, Aitareya Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The Chandogya Upanishad and Brihadaranyaka Upanishads are very, very big, voluminous Upanishads, running into several hundreds of mantras. The smallest Upanishad is Mandukya Upanishad, which has only 12 mantras. And a very deep study of Vedanta. They say if you study one Upanishad, which is Mandukya Upanishad, you will be liberated. That is what Sri Rama explained to Hanumanji. Hanumanji kept on asking, how many Upanishads are there? 1,108. What if I can't study all this 1,100 Upanishads? Then he says, you study 108 Upanishads. Then Rama says, okay, then if you can't study that also, study 10 Upanishads. If you can't study all the 10, study one Upanishad. Which is that Upanishad? Mandukya Upanishad. Very beautiful. I mean, it's so deep. The 12 mantras, it was only 12 mantras. Really, I can understand myself with 12 mantras? Yes, you can. Try it out. What you need to do is understand the 12 mantras. Number 1, called as Shravanam. After listening to the scriptures, after listening to the meaning of those 12 verses, You have to spend time in contemplation. What is this waking state? What is this dream state? What is this sleep state? Is there anything common in the three states, which is my nature? I am conscious of the waking state. I am conscious of the dream state. I am conscious of the sleep state. So are the three states, the three worlds real? Or is consciousness which reveals the three states is real? That is the question which is answered in Mandukya Upanishad. Very beautiful Upanishad. Similarly, so many Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. So all this has got only one essence. And what is that essence? There is one reality, knowing which I will be able to remove the Adhyasa which I am suffering today. There is an automatic, unwilling nature of mind which I can eliminate. This elimination process is what is called as moksha. Vyasacharya shows that all Upanishads deal with the self-knowledge alone. Mimamsa means reflection, analysis, pujita vichara, inquiry imbued with devotion. Because you should not only inquire with your intellect, but inquire with your heart also. A confluence of intellect and the heart, both are required. The emotional aspect plus the intellectual aspect. When they both join together and go and ask this question and inquire, the heart which is involved with love and affection and for curiosity will merge with that ultimate self. There is only one indweller in all the bodies. That is this consciousness. Body is only made up of 5 elements and does not deserve aham, I, which I have invested now. I have taken this I, which is the ego I, which is born when I wake up and which resolves when I go to sleep. All my whole life, I have invested on this I, which is the ego I. I have to divest from that and look at what lies beyond this ego I, which is the Sakshi I, which is the Turiyam I, which is revealed in the Mandukya Upanishad. There is another I. You don't know that. Yes, I didn't know this. But now I know it because the Upanishads are telling me. I have gone, I have removed my Adhyasa, no more superimposition, it's gone. I am the pure self. That is what you will say at the end of the study of the Upanishads. I am pure. I'm never affected by anything in the creation. You will jump with joy and say, this is fulfillment in life. There is so much joy in this understanding, which nothing in the world can give me except this knowledge. So when I do this ardent inquiry into the sense of I drop my limitations of the body and mind, by which I feel I am bound today. I get up in the morning, I feel I've got problems all over. There's nobody else who has got so many problems like me. That's what each one of us feels. Analysis of the limited individual is the study of Brahma Sutra and also of the Upanishads. The entire Upanishadic study gives us the knowledge of the self, which removes the Adhyasa. The wrong notion that I am the body is removed. That is what is called as removal of Adhyasa once and for all. And when I do this, the Upanishad tells me you are free forever, because that is your nature. Moksha is Atyanta Dukkha Nivritti. There are two definitions of moksha, liberation, freedom. One is Atyantaka Dukkha Nivritti, Paramananda Swarupa Prapti. Dukkha Nivritti means getting rid of sorrow. Ananda Prapti means Paramananda Prapti. That means I am there without the body and mind, which is divine, which is Paramarthikam. Paramarthikam means it's of a higher order of reality. I wake up to this higher order. I wake up. That is why they say Uttishtaha, Uttishtatha. Kathopanishad says, come on, wake up, man. Yamadharma Raja says to Nachiketa, wake up from this waking world to your real nature, to a higher nature, which you have never known before. It's a totally new realm of experience. Once your intellect gets exposed to this knowledge, it will never ever think that you are the body and you are the mind. If at all you are experiencing that, it is only abhasa, it is only a fake ego which is acting in the world. That is what Vichara Sagara, the higher text, tells me. And I am a Jivan Mukta. With this, we conclude Adhyasa Bashyam. We studied 16 sections. I will give you a quick summary of that 16 sections after I explain this chart, which is the Ohm chart. Many of the participants of this program, they have asked me to explain this Ohm chart. I thought this will be a right opportunity because this is very useful in our Upanishadic study also. It is also good to know how Adhyasa happens through this chart. The credit of this chart goes to Swami Chinmayananda, who has designed this chart. And throughout his discourses, he has used this chart to explain Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, everything he has explained through this one chart. Om means the Purusha, the real self, which we call it as the reality, supreme consciousness. That supreme consciousness has got two natures. One is unmanifest and the second is manifest. The unmanifest nature is called as Karana Shariram. It is a Shakti. It is a power, which we call it as Maya. V stands for Vasanas at the individual level. The same Vasanas at the cosmic level is called as Maya Shakti. It is unmanifest. It is also called as Prakriti. This is what we experience in our deep sleep state. This chart is very deep in understanding. I'm trying to simplify it, explain to you in 10 minutes. Mandukya Upanishad will give a detailed explanation of this chart, plus there is one more chart in 200 verses. So we start from the Vasana level. Each one of us has got a Vasana. You have a Vasana, I have a Vasana, my son has a Vasana, my daughter has a Vasana, my mother has a Vasana. We all come into the world to express our Vasanas. Through these Vasanas, we get joy and sorrow, and again take up another body, again come to fructify these Vasanas. These Vasanas are also called as the cosmic law of Prarabdha Karma, which expresses as thoughts in our mind in a day-to-day world. Why do you think of this today? because it is your prarabdha karma which is fructifying today. What will you think tomorrow? I don't know. Because what I will think depends on my prarabdha karma tomorrow. They are all time bound, body bound. With this body, I will fructify one portion of my prarabdha karma. With another body, I will come back and fructify another portion. This is a cosmic law. And how do I express these vasanas? In what form do I come in this body? These vasanas are expressed as thoughts, which can be either joyful thoughts or sorrowful thoughts. The end result, I may do actions, but the end result is what I experience at the end of the day. I had a good day today, it is joyful. I had a bad day today, sorrowful. I had a mixed day today, 50% joyful, 50% things didn't work out for me what I wanted. That is what is called as mishram. Most of our days are all mishram because as human body, we all have 50% joy, 50% sorrow in life. Mixed bag. It is a mixture bag. Now, this vasana expresses in three instruments. The three instruments are called as pramanam. Body is an instrument, mind is an instrument, intellect is an instrument. Through the body, I perceive the world of objects. Through the mind, I feel emotions. Through the intellect, I think of thoughts. My whole life is governed by me being a perceiver, feeler, or thinker. This perceiver, feeler, thinker is called as the ego I, pramata I, the knower I in this body. This knower I becomes the doer I. This doer I becomes the enjoyer I. So the perceiver, knower, thinker is the ego jiva. And what does the jiva experience? The objects, emotions, and thoughts, which are called as prameyam. Pramanam is the instrument. Pramata is the wielder of the instrument. What is experienced is the objects in creation. Objects can be perceived. Objects can be felt as emotions because even our emotions are different than the consciousness. Om represents consciousness. That consciousness, which is supreme in nature, which is one, it expresses in each body as the sakshi of the buddhi. All our emotions are known only because of the existence of this pure consciousness, which is the essence of all the Upanishads. This is what Bhagavad Gita reveals, Brahma Sutra reveals, Upanishads will reveal. There is one essence behind this creation. At the total level, it is called as Ishvara. At the individual body level, it is called as Jiva. The Jiva experience the Jagat, and Ishvara is the creator of the Jagat. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, together they form the entire cosmos. But this consciousness is beyond the Jiva Jagat Ishvara. It is a Sakshi. It is a pure self. When I come to know this pure self, I drop the ego I and I merge myself with the pure consciousness. That is what is called as Adhyasa Nivritti. I drop the notion I am the body, I am the mind. In the Vyavahara, the body is there, mind is there. You will still see the body acting and the mind functioning. But internally, the person has corrected the notion and he never takes himself as the body and mind. So this is the BMI chart, which is also called as the Ohm chart. This entire operation of the BMI, PFT, OET is called as Vyavaharikam. That Om is called as Paramarthikam, absolute. In the Vyavaharikam, in the transactional field, Sukham and Dukham, joy and sorrow are the end result of all our transactions. So by dropping the notion, I am going beyond my vasanas and getting attached to Om. Om is a very, very significant, powerful sound which represents the ultimate reality. Last week in the Wednesday class, I took a meditation session on Om. How to reach that Om? How Mundak Upanishad gives us the method of using Om symbol, sound symbol, to reach that pure consciousness. Okay, so that was the Om chart. Now let's go. The essence of Ishvara and Jiva is, Jiva in his essence is called as Atma. At the Jiva level, the ultimate essence or reality is called as Satchid Ananda. At the total level, Ishvara is the creator. At the total level, the same Atma is called as Brahman, that pure consciousness. And what is the nature of that Brahman? It is Satchit Ananda. What is the meaning of Sat? Sat means Satyam. It exists always. What is Chit? Chit means consciousness. And what is Ananda? Ananda means it is limitless, bliss. The nature is defined as Satchit Ananda. That is the nature which is common to both the Jiva and Ishvara. And this essential nature is revealed in the Brahma Sutras, in the Upanishads, and in the Bhagavad Gita. That is what we always aim to reach. This is the goal. I will now quickly summarize Adhyasa Bashyam in about 10-15 minutes, and then just a quick round of what we studied in the 16 sections. The first section is a Purva Pakshi section. Why Adhyasa is not possible? That is what an opponent comes and discusses. There is no similarity between Atma and this body and the world. Atma is sentient, body is inert. How can there be any superimposition between these two diametrically opposite nature? That is what the Purva Pakshi said in the first section. In the second section, the Siddhantin, that means the Vedantin, comes and says, Shankaracharya says, here Purva Pakshi means during Shankaracharya's time, there were other philosophers like Sankhya, Yoga, Jaina philosophy, Buddhist philosophers, All those philosophers are called as Purva Pakshis, opponents of Advaita Vedanta. Shankaracharya propounded Advaita Vedanta, which is non-dual reality. There is no Dvaitam in the world. There is no two-ness in this world. There is only one essential reality. That is Shankaracharya's matam, philosophy. What he says in the second section is, even though they are not similar, adhyasa, superimposition, still comes about itara iteretara aviveka. I do not know the nature of Atma and the nature of Anatma. I don't know what is the world and what is consciousness. If I know that, I will not have superimposition. Knowing that, to know that only, I conduct this study. Swarupa Adhyasa is one seen as another. I am the pure consciousness, which is what my nature is, which is what I am without this body, without the mind, without the world. I exist. That is my nature. That is what I experience in my sleep state. Upanishads clearly bombard us. Come on, look at your sleep state. Look at your sleep state. Inquire. In your own mind, you come to an answer. Let the mind, intellect come to an answer. Oh, this is what is called as pure existence. Aham idam, mama idam. That is what is called as superimposition. Throughout my life, I'm using I and this, mine and this. This is my car. This is my body. This is my mind. I keep on using these words. And this is what is called as Adhyasa. Shankaracharya says, go to the depth of this I and mine and this. Find out what is this I, mine, and this in this conversation which we daily have. That is where the Adhyasa is there. It is worth investigating. That was what said in the second. Then the definition of what is Adhyasa is given in the third section. It is Smriti Rupaha, Paratra, and Purva Drishta Avabhasa. Smriti Rupaha means it is of the nature of memory. This Adhyasa, this superimposition, is of the nature of memory. I have thoughts that this is what I was when I was 5 years old. I have a thought, this is what I was last year. I have a thought that this is what I was yesterday. All this is a thought, and this thought is illumined by consciousness. The thought is appearance, transient. Consciousness, which reveals this thought, is the reality. This I notion arises in a different locus. It is not in Sakshi, it is in the intellect. It is in the world, it is in the body, it is in the mind. That is what is called as Paratra. And Purva Drishta means this Adhyasa is a result of past experience. Past experience means I had this superimposition in my previous birth. I am just continuing it in this birth. I will continue it in the next birth if I don't attend Adhyasa Bashyam talks. The fourth section says, what is the Adhyasa in other schools? We talked about Adhyasa in Sankhya, in Nyaya, in Yoga, all this in Mimamsa. How do they define this superimposition? Error. That is what was called as Khyati Vada. It was a little confusing for many, but it is just a how Shankaracharya says that all other schools also accept this superimposition, but they have not gone to the depth of it. The fifth section says, Adhyasa is not a philosophical topic. It is a common universal experience. We all experience shell as silver, rope as snake, mirage water, dream. All this is example of Adhyasa. They are the lakshanas. They are the examples to say that Adhyasa is a common phenomenon. It is not only that it's a philosophical idea. No, it is not an imagination. It is not a concept, but it is an experience of all the people in all activities. Pariksha, investigation, is the sixth section, where the Purva Pakshi, the opponent, comes and says, if I examine all this Adhyasa superimposition is seeing one object on the other, but the self is not an object. How can you say it is Adhyasa? Self is self. It is not never an object. It is a subject. Then seventh section says, Shankaracharya says, self is not an object. What is important in Adhyasa? The important thing in Adhyasa is the object should be known for superimposition. Rope should be known for superimposition of a snake. Similarly, the subject I should be known. Do you know yourself during the waking or not? Yes, I know. But the problem is I don't know that I don't have a clarity on that I, the subject. That is the problem. If I know the rope in a bright sunlight day, there is no Adhyasa. Nobody will take a rope as a snake. But when it is 6 o'clock in the evening, it is not so lighted up, then people may mistake it to be a snake. Similarly, I am the pure self in my sleep state. I don't know this. Upanishad comes and tells me this, and then this ignorance goes away. Till I know that pure self, without the body, without the mind, without the world, it can exist, which is my experience. It is my anubhava. But I didn't know that that is the real self. So Shankaracharya says self has to be known only. It can be known as a subject, it can be known as an object. Adhyasa can happen in both the ways. In object, it can happen in shells, in rope snake, in shell silver. It is an object Adhyasa, objective Adhyasa. I taking the body as myself is a subjective Adhyasa. I taking myself as the mind is a subjective Adhyasa. The 8th section says Adhyasa, the cause of Adhyasa is ignorance, avidya. Through the back door, Shankaracharya brings ignorance now. And he says, ignorance about my true nature, which is the pure consciousness, that is the problem. If ignorance is the problem, there can be only one solution. And the solution has to be knowledge. Knowledge of what? Of that same subject, which is the self. The solution is not karma. You don't need to do more actions. You don't need to do karma yoga, upasana yoga, all that. No. You need knowledge. That's why you come to Vedanta study. It is a study of Upanishads. It is knowledge based. There is no karma. There is no mixture of karma and knowledge together. No samuchaya also. Pure knowledge of the self is what is required to remove this ignorance. In the 9th section, Shankaracharya further goes to explain to us what is this ignorance before we study and how this ignorance is the basis of all our life, which we come to realize after the study. In retrospect, retrospect means before the study. Adhyasa is created by ignorance. This is a knowledge we get from the Shastra. The substratum, the Atma, is never affected by the merits and demerits of the three states of waking, dream, and sleep. So none of this affects Atma. Therefore, I can say I am the immortal self, eternal self. There is a solution to this ignorance by knowledge. What is truly not there, it can never touch the substrate. Like the dream is really not there. Yesterday's dream, where is it? Gone. 2 months ago, you dreamt something. Where is it today? Gone. Similarly, is this waking also. Yesterday's events, where is it today? Gone. Today's events, where is it? It will be gone tomorrow. Where is it going? Where is it rising from? Consciousness. What is the substratum for this whole experiential life which we have of birth and death, of sorrow and joy? All this, where is it all happening? The substratum is what is called as consciousness. The relationship between Adhyasa and Adhishtanam, that relationship is explained in the 9th section. It is the Adhishtanam, substratum, and Adhyasa is a superimposition. Like the rope is the substratum, rope snake is the Adhyasa. Dream is a superimposition. Waker is the substratum. Waking is the superimposition. Atma, Brahman, pure consciousness is the substratum. So we have to wake up to become a super waker, which is pure consciousness. Our entire life is based on this Adhyasa. That is what is said. Both this interactional world and also the ritualistic portion of the Vedas, all are based on Adhyasa. So avidya is the main cause for superimposition. That is what is said in the 9th section. The 10th section says, how do you make such a flamboyant assertion? Everything is based on Adhyasa. Is it true? How is it possible? Then Shankaracharya says in the 11th section, don't worry, I will explain to you. I will take 1 or 2 examples, I will show it to you. Then he says, you study the whole process of how Vyavahara takes place. He says any interaction is only possible when there are 3 factors. One is pramata, the second is pramanam, and the third is prameyam. I have explained to you pramata. Pramata means the knower, doer, enjoyer. That is the ego I. Unless the ego I is there, and then the body and mind is there, which is the pramanam, then only the interaction with the prameyam, the world, takes place. Isn't it? That is what he explains in the 11th section. By identifying myself as the body, I become the knower, the pramata. Then I start seeing, hearing, smelling, touching. These are all the actions at the pramana level. Not at the pramata level. Pramata is just a reflection of consciousness in the Vijnanamaya Kosha. The ego I is nothing but only a reflection of that pure existence. So here in the 11th section, he says the first thing which happens when we wake up in the morning is I the Sakshi, become Pramata when I wake up in the morning. When I become the Pramata, I start seeing this body and I experience the mind. And then with the help of body and mind, which are instruments, the Pramanam, I experience the world, which is Prameyam, object. The entire experience of the world is nothing but the 5 sense objects experienced by the 5 sense organs. Eyes will see the color and form, ears will hear the sound, the skin will feel the touch, the tongue will feel the taste. That's all. These are only the 5 sense organs which we can smell, see, hear, touch, feel. Beyond that is this consciousness. That is what Shankaracharya is trying to say. The pure self, if I don't know that the self, is called as avidya of the self, ignorance of the self. The ignorance of the self, because of this ignorance, I project a I notion in this body, which is the body and mind complex is me. First Adhyasa, the I notion in the body-mind complex, which comes only when I wake up. In the sleep state, it is not there. In the dream state, I am identified with my mind only. There is no body there. This physical body, gross body is not identified. So the I notion uses the pramana, body, mind, and experiences the prameya, the word. Vyavahara starts, and then what happens? Raga and dvesha. I like certain things, I go running after that throughout my life. Throughout my life, I like 1, 2, 3. I like music, I will be running throughout my life with music. I like computers, I really will run towards a computer life throughout my life. Law, geography, physics, medicine, so many things, different lights are there. Nivritti, I don't like this mathematics. Oh, I will always stay away from maths. I don't like certain people. I want to be away from these people. This yesterday, today, tomorrow also I don't want to see them. Next life also I don't want to see them. Dvesha. So the whole Vyavahara is based on Raga and Dvesha. So what is the basic of all this? Avidya, Kama, Karma. Avidya is ignorance, Kama is Raga. What is the difference between Kama and Raga? Kama means simple desire of what we don't have. What is Raga? Raga means intense attachment, obsession of things possessed by me. And to attain this desireful objects, I perform karma, actions. So this chart here is a beautiful chart. Our whole life is explained of Adhyasa in this chart. You can use this to understand the entire 16 verses, 16 sections. Then in the 12th section, Shankaracharya says, why don't you observe 2 things in this life? You observe how the animals are behaving and how the human beings are behaving. If you compare both of them, you will see that animals are also identified with their body as their self. They use the pramana, their body, eyes, ears, and all that, and then they have likes and dislikes, and they conduct their vyavahara. And how do the human beings? Exactly like that. It's like that in terms of the process of interaction. We are not talking about the level of buddhi and all that here. General nature of how the interaction takes place, we also identify with the body. If there is a light object, we run after it. If we don't like it, we go away from it. Animals also, if somebody comes with a stick, they run away from it. If somebody comes with a grass and gives it to them, they go run after it. So pramata, pramana, prameya, vyavahara is common in animals and human beings. The process remains the same. Therefore, Adhyasa is common. Through this 12th section, Shankaracharya concludes that Vyavahara, interaction in the waking state, is entirely based on Adhyasa. What is Adhyasa? Taking the body as me and conducting the whole day's actions. Body is a upadhi, whereas the consciousness which is behind this body, which is the upahita chaitanyam, is the witness of all activities. It does not take part in the activities. It is always remains as the pure self in the past, in the present, and in the future. It remains changeless forever. The 13th section, Shankaracharya says, the ritualistic activities also are based on Adhyasa. Person is not happy with the current body. He prays for a future body in the heaven, thinking that that body is permanent and I will have eternal happiness in heaven, which is a wrong notion. There is nothing permanent. No joy or sorrow is permanent. It is transient. That is the truth of life. Ignorance of the self as a substratum is the real cause. He doesn't know this. He has the ignorance. He takes the self as a traveling jivatma. I travel to the heaven. I will have the 14 lokas. I'll go each loka and experience. Brahmano yajeta, Kshatriya, Rajasoya, Yaga. That means different people, different classes of people, they perform different types of yajnas, different rituals. You take yourself to be a householder, grihastha, sannyasi, brahmachari while acting in this world. It is with Adhyasa you have all these activities. Shastriya Vyavahara is rooted in Adhyasa, is what is said in the 13th section. 14th section is an examination of what is this Adhyasa from another angle. In the 3rd section, he gave us a definition, a lakshana. Paratra, smriti rupaha, anyatra. All that was said in the 3rd section. Now he says, atasmin tat buddhihi. This is what we saw last week. Seeing something that is not to be that. Seeing body to be the self when it is not the self. That is what is Adhyasa. Taking body dharma as the self. Body gets born, body dies. That is the dharma of the body. But taking that as me is the problem of superimposition. Identifying with my son. If the son is suffering, I say, oh, I also am suffering today because my son is suffering. It is Adhyasa. My wife is crying. I also will cry today because why? Adhyasa. My car has got a scratch, brand new car. Adhyasa. I lost my wealth in share market. Adhyasa. All these are examples of Adhyasa. Taking Antakarana Dharma, that is the projection of the mind as the self, is the superimposition. We take ourselves to be the body-mind complex. If you want to know in short, what is Adhyasa? I take this body-mind as me. That is the superimposition, which I need to eliminate by the study of Upanishads. The self on the non-self, non-self on the self is what is called as the phenomena of life. Body has no life at all. It doesn't exist at all. But I take the body to be existent. That is what is the Adhyasa from the self to the body. The body is born. I take it, I am born. That is from the body Adhyasa on the self. Both are the problems of the entire samsara. The 15th section we just covered today, it says Adhyasa is beginningless, it is endless, and it is natural. Very important. Anadi, Ananta, Naisargika. 3 beautiful words in Sanskrit. It is created by ever-experienced ignorance of the self. To put an end to this avidya, Adhyasa, the study of Upanishads is undertaken. The study of Brahma Sutra is undertaken. The last section says the entire Brahma Sutra and the Upanishad has got one topic, and the topic is Aikyam, oneness between Jiva and the reality which is called as Brahman. In every Upanishad, when we study, keep this in mind. What the Upanishad is, the goal of the Upanishad is, there is one reality. That reality, you can call it as what? Beyond the 5 koshas. You can call it as Turiyam in Mandukya. You can call it as Brahman in Taittiriya Upanishad. You can call it any name, but that is what it is. There's only one essence. Atma Jnanam is the solution for the bondage experienced by us due to Adhyasa. Now Shankaracharya says, O Vedavyasa, now come to the stage and start the Brahma Sutra talk. Athato Brahma Jijnasa. This is the first sutra of the first Adhikaranam in the Brahma Sutra. First sutra. Athato Brahma Jijnasa. Hence, hereafter we will deliberate on Brahman. That is the first sutra, very important sutra. And to write a commentary on these sutras, Shankaracharya wrote this commentary of Adhyasa Bashyam. First, no ignorance is the problem. Then you can say the solution lies in the Upanishads. There is no other way except the study of Upanishads. It is an intellectual study, and through that, we remove this Adhyasa. We are grateful to Bhagavan Shankara for this profound teaching, given in such simple language on these 16 sections. We can make an attempt to get moksha purushartha with this background. Shankara is truly the mother, father, and the guru in one embodiment. He's a dynamic giant. We see the depth of his revelation. We are thankful to this Shankaracharya and all the rishis in our tradition. We can do a simple meditation of invoking the blessings of Shankaracharya. Our hearts can melt in the ocean of this knowledge. We seek vairagyam, dispassion from our own likes and dislikes, to know this pure self. If knowledge of the self is there, then everything is there. And if knowledge is not there, Shankaracharya says, what is the meaning of having everything else in life? Dharma, Artha, Kama are only stepping stones for the final Purushartha, which is moksha. After study of these 16 sections, what should we all say? We must put an end to Adhyasa and blossom in our nature, which is called as Sat Chit Ananda. This is our goal of life. It is our goal of the study of Upanishads, which we will begin next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. In my notes, I have this section, which is a if you want to have another simple variety of what all the 16 sections, you can refer to this note. This is a much minor version of the 16 sections. But what I took today is a good summary. These notes are very, very useful to revise Adhyasa Bashyam whenever we want to do it. But we will again go through this 16 verses. Then we start Brahma Sutra, which may be after 1.5, 2 years. So with that, we complete today our study of this beautiful commentary. Next week will be Kaivalya Upanishad. And from now on, we'll be taking one Upanishad after the other. If you have any questions, you can ask them. There's no questions on the chat board. I will ask Shanmugam to unmute all of you. And if you have any questions, you can ask them by unmuting yourself. Yes, Shama. You're raising your hand, I can know. You have a question?
It automatically goes up, actually.
Everybody's looking for your question.
No, first and foremost, I have to congratulate you on this most amazing, how much hard work, complete elaboration, then taking the trouble of doing a wonderful summary, which would be so hard for any one of us to do. You know, so I feel, I can't just imagine what else could you do. I mean, yeah, no, you can't, because this is incredible. So thank you, congratulations, and thank you for doing. And I will obviously want to go back to this quite a few times. So that's really that. So what is amazing is that through this, you have actually given a method of how we actually move from the Vyavaharika Satyam to the Paramarthikam Satyam.
Correct.
And the process, obviously, there is no other process except for knowledge, knowing. You know, that's the only way you can go from a place of avidya to vidya.
Yes.
Okay. And you've also very nicely described about as to how the problem is, how the Adhyasa not only is there when we begin our lives, but it actually gets more and more fortified.
Yes.
Yeah. In the way as to how the false ego actually becomes the master of your entire life.
Yes.
It really requires like an almost, you know, when you go into the space,
yes,
you have to take the very forceful velocity for it to exit the Earth's gravity.
Yes.
You know, when the rockets are fired, apparently you have to have a very huge power.
Yeah.
So after listening to your Adhyasa Bashyam, I am just thinking actually now at least what is needed is a huge power of self-effort, of sankalpa, of determination that I just have to do it. It cannot happen by its own. That much I'm sure.
Yes.
It will not happen without putting in any effort. That much is true. Because I've built such a big fort around this false ego, false
Yes.
identity. Yeah. So that's just really the very brief description of where you have led us to. And just one second. Yeah. I was just trying to think, Paramarthika, this, that, and all. What is, I have to actually ask you, that's the question, as to where in the Shankaracharya or Upanishads, because what is easy to see the Vyavaharika Satyam in the terms of the body, yeah? But in the psychological terms, for example, you know, every child, as you grow, you learn to stand on your 2 feet, then you want to know about the world, yeah?
Yeah.
So the Jagat. So the Jagat is obviously the main focus, which is what we can see. And you actually continue to get so much knowledge till, and then you have your career and whatever. And that gives you that kind of an identity, which obviously now I know is a
Yes.
false identity, but a very fortified, you know, it actually gives in psychological term, which we call as ego integrity.
Yes.
The psychologist Erickson, that's how he describes the last state, which is a very mature state. So you do reach a very mature state within yourself.
Correct.
Of ego integrity. And that really is quite a comfortable place for so many years to stay in, because you have your ideals, you have your values, you have your judgments, and it actually keeps you there,
Yes.
surviving.
But it doesn't give you fulfillment and bliss, or, you know, that is the problem.
Yeah, all because regularly you will keep on having your joys and sorrows.
Yes.
That is the fundamental truth. So
you
therefore,
you accept it as a part and parcel of life and say that is what is life.
Yeah, yeah. But for a long time, you know, you reach that pinnacle of where you say, I know it all and I have, you know, understood it. Until you actually start living your Grihastha life and joy and sorrows and all of that. And you then realize what I'm saying here is the Adarsha, the ideals as to how do you break that, you know, your values and judgments, you know, for example, to these kind of values which you have, which is about serving others and this and that, can be the singular goal of life, you know, where to know myself is not such a great goal, you know. So that still is a bit of a conflict, you know, and
Yes.
I wonder what you have to say to this. So in a very roundabout way, I'm asking that question because they seem to compete with the same space.
Yes.
You know, on one hand, you know, there is no doubt. I know, I'm convinced you have to know yourself, the true self. Yeah. On the other hand, there is still that hanging, clinging to this value of, oh, serving others is the greatest value.
Yes.
That's
See, what you're describing, Shama, is basically our current way of life. All of us, we are very comfortable when we reach a level of security in life, when we have money, when we have to take care of our basic necessities in life. Yeah. All this, we experience this, and the jolt comes for all of us when all of a sudden we start seeing death.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. Very true.
The jolt, really, the jolt comes. Hey, the ego in us asks this fundamental question.
Correct.
What I thought I was so comfortable, where did it all disappear? That person itself is gone.
Yeah.
So one day your ego says, I will also be gone. So what is this I which is in this body, which is so happy and which is so, comfortable in life? Where is that ego? That ego is going to disappear from this cosmos. That feeling of insecurity, when that comes in, the jiva is born as a seeker.
Correct, correct.
Till then, you are not a seeker. You are only a simple jiva experiencing the life.
And a curiosity
That's all.
prompted.
Yes.
Yeah, you're just curious.
The curiosity in you is born when you see that the whole life of Vyavahara is
Meaningless.
transient,
meaningless.
It has got absolutely no substance in it.
Correct, correct, correct. So if at all the Jagat has any importance, the only importance is it actually exposes you to your own self.
To your own self. The whole purpose of the Jagat creation is to know your real nature.
Yeah, it's kind
God
of a mirror
has
you're
created
holding.
the world to for all the jivas to reach him finally.
Correct, correct. Yeah.
That is the vision of the Veda.
Beautiful, yeah. So it's really the continuous remembrance of your true nature is what is required, you know, more or less, you know, through by whichever means, so that you can't fall by the side.
Correct. See, I want to just give you a synopsis of in Vichara Sagara, the student in advanced stages, he asked this question: what is this vairagyam you're talking about? Even Ajnani, when he comes to become a seeker, he also gets a vairagyam. He learns through karma yoga and upasana yoga. He gets vairagyam from the world. How come that vairagyam is not enough for the reaching the self?
Correct.
You know, that vairagyam is there. His detachment is there. You know, but then this guru tells him that this vairagyam is only a moderate vairagyam to bring you to the doorstep of jnanam.
Correct.
What you need is intense vairagyam, which will take you beyond that 3 booster rockets which you were explaining. That intense vairagyam will give you the moksha, and that is this Adhyasa Bashyam. Drop all this as Vyavaharika Satyam. It is not the Paramarthika Satyam. I am the Paramarthika Satyam. Let me just live my life thinking about this pure nature of mine as my real nature, and the worldly experiences as a passing phase. It is just a passing. It is appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing. What was yesterday? It was like a dream. What was day before yesterday? It was like another dream.
Yeah.
What is today is another dream.
Correct, correct.
Tomorrow is another dream. But I am the pure self on which this entire thing is coming and going, coming and going. And unless and until you take the world as mithya, then only you get moksha.
Yeah. And so in the current day world,
worldly experiences as mithya prapancha, as a false experience, then only the Guru says you have real vairagyam.
Yeah.
Real vairagyam is detachment from raga.
Yeah.
It is detachment from obsession with the world of objects and beings.
Beautiful, beautiful. And currently you can see as to what is so intense and very, very strong. And I feel if now I can't understand it, I will never understand it. You know, if you look at the current day picture of the world, there was a time when you could see wars and things in the history because it was so distanced, you know. Right now, the world all over, it takes a fraction of a second to see the real nature of human history. And all the world's literature, all the world's philosophy can do nothing at all, you know. You cannot, you know, you've got all these think tanks and all the political, all the knowledge is available, the UN and whatnot, and no one can stop the war. It is just inevitable. And you feel, of course, it has to be part of Prakriti or nature, which in itself is determining the whole process. That is, this is how this must end. No one is doing it, actually. It is nature itself.
Each one of us will feel like Arjuna and will ask all the questions we felt him in the Mahabharata war which he had.
Yeah.
You and I can ask the same questions today.
Yeah.
This is the war which is going on. What is my role in it?
And you know, this kind of little optimistic, the value. So this is why the Vairagya is developing, because, you know, you almost feel if this happens and if that happens, you can actually bring it all together. You can join it. It's such nonsense, you know. So this is the ultimate, because I always used to think, if you can think hard enough, there has to be a solution, you know,
Yes.
how the ego thinks. There will be a solution. Now I realize, no, it is nature itself which is determining every moment what happens, whichever part of the world, you know, within individuals, within the world picture. So I absolutely agree with you, you know, about this Vairagyam. It just, I mean, for me, I'm actually really so, I'm grateful to the Lord that somehow this had needed to be happening. This Vairagyam has to have developed. So this is a very great opportunity for those of us who are attending the Satsanga to think very hard on what is happening in the present day world and its meaninglessness of it all.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else has any other doubt or any other comments on this entire Adhyasa Bashyam? We spent quite a lot of time. Anybody else would like to say anything about this?
I would like to say something.
Yeah.
You know, it's something like awakening for us, you know, because in the midst of so many difficulties and incidents that are happening, this is one of the solutions that you're coming across.
Yeah, this is an internal solution which we develop.
Yeah, you find slowly you're getting the grips of it. Otherwise, you'll be going the flow with the
yes, that's correct. This is like the anchor. We can hold on to this and then face the world.
Face the world, and then you find that you are not too much entangled in it.
Yes, I agree with you, Chandra.
Yeah,
that's a very good observation.
And then you find that you have the right people to advise you, and then you are also in line with spirituality, and that is a gift we are having now.
Good. Anybody? Yeah, thank you, Chandra.
Mr. Shekhar.
Yeah, Jacqueline.
Obsession and thinking. You use the word obsession. In fact, ideally, we should not obsess, right? And we should not think. Am I right to say that?
Yeah, obsession is what is called as raga. You know, I am attached to things which I don't have, which I don't have. You know, I want it. That is raga. So any type of obsession is not good in life.
Yeah,
because it is born in the mind. See, it's just a creation of our own mind, you know.
Yes. It's just like a baby who is born, but when they want to start learning how to walk, and they fall down and they have to start walking, it's the determination of whether it's obsession or determination, it has to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Thank you. Appreciate.
Okay, Jacqueline. Thank you. Anybody else?
Shekharji, Hariom.
Yeah. Tell me, Murli.
Shekharji, thank you very much for that excellent guidance on the entire subject, which is a very, very tough subject.
Yeah.
And as you know, very few people have ventured into this area to elaborate and explain this. And since it's a very difficult subject and technical subject, and which is the basis for the coming all the Upanishads, so it's very imperative that we must keep on referring.
Yes.
We should keep on referring to it repeatedly.
Correct.
And
Ringing the bell for so long.
We will take your subject, we will take your guidance. If we get stuck up in any of these chapter 16 chapters which you are told, if we get stuck up, we will definitely seek your support.
No problem.
So this is
Anytime you
something.
can, yeah, anytime.
This is something that we learned it over a spread of more than 16 weeks, 16 weeks or 20 weeks we studied.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that the first session we would have forgotten and
no problem. That's why I took a revision today. So
yeah.
it was, and also the BMI chart, which you wanted to also understand.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions on that?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I just want to request you is that I'll again go through session by session. And wherever I get stuck up, definitely I will approach you and get it clarified.
No problem.
So that
Anytime. No problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Once more, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
I must ask him.
Can I? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have this chart of your explanation, the summary of it. Can I have a copy of it?
Yeah, sure. I'll. You want it to be sent by email to you or
email better. Email better.
To the email address. I don't know whether I have the email address. Just send me the email address again.
Okay. Prakash, give the email address.
No, you send it to me by WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Okay. Give him the email address after.
Yeah, you can give it to me later on in the WhatsApp.
WhatsApp again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, go ahead. Who is next?
So Saru.
Saru. Yeah, please tell her. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So first of all, deep gratitude for these classes. I mean to say it's been life-changing in many ways. I've been searching for a teacher for the past like 3 years, and it's very tough finding a teacher. So deep gratitude to you to, put me onto the path. So I'm really, really grateful to the universe for bringing me here. I have a very simple question. Two of them, they may be confusions, adhyasas, which I'm living with. One is sometimes I feel that when you talk about the 14 lokas, yeah, I sometimes my wonderment is like when I move from like say for example from one locality to another locality, yeah, or from one household to another, it is almost like experiencing a different loka altogether.
You're right. Generally, they say that our whole life is all the 14 lokas is here in this
right?
In this earth.
Okay, yeah, that was a question. So I will experience the lokas on this earth itself, right?
Exactly. Yes.
And different people, I will experience them at different
Absolutely,
lokas.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, great. So that was Yeah. Okay. The second question is Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. Yeah. What I am finding for myself and experiencing for myself that after attending the Jnana Yoga, the Jnana path, my Bhakti is going up.
Good. Yeah. Very good.
And also the need for service has suddenly arisen, which was very, very latent, but now I'm being able to manifest it through the path of knowledge.
Very good. Yeah.
So my question is, Bhakti Yoga, it's not an either or path. It is what I'm thinking right now is Jnana Yoga will take me to these other paths also and make them alive.
Yes.
Yeah, if they were dormant.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, because you see, ultimately you come to realize there is oneness in the entire universe. If somebody is suffering, I have a feeling for that person, and I know my seva goes up. See, jnanam is not a compartment by itself. It doesn't drop the bhakti and it doesn't drop the seva and all that.
Yes.
Okay. It is one composite. You see, it is one composite yoga. That's why we call it as Jnana Yoga. Encompasses all yogas.
Okay.
You see, suddenly you will find when you are in this path, suddenly you will find there are so many things which you wanted to do in life. You start doing it now.
Yes, very true. I've started swimming. Which I could never do. I was so scared of water. I've started doing
you will suddenly, because the reason is your mind which was clogged up, has become free.
Right.
You see, slowly you're getting back your original nature. You want to experience certain things. There are certain people who start painting. There are certain people who start writing poetry when they do Vedanta. Because new things have now, they are venturing into things which they have never done it before.
Right.
These are all the experiences of this type of learning.
Okay. And there is one more experience which has been very significant in my life. I'll just take a minute with it. Once I'd gone to Ramana Ashram, and when in the morning I had a nightmare. Yeah. And the nightmare was that somebody was pulling me up by my throat and I'd lost my voice. And it was very scary. And I dreamt a friend was calling me. And in reality, when I woke up, I actually see this friend calling me. Yeah. And I opened the curtains and I saw a peacock outside. Okay. And at that time, this is like about 4 months ago, I was studying Jungian psychology also and doing dream study. And and at that time, the thing was that, no, you go into the dream and go into the fear. Okay. Examine what is the fear. But somewhere I felt that what is my reality?
Yes.
Yeah, whether the peacock is the reality or whether my throat getting throttled is the reality.
Yeah.
Which one is the reality? What do I take? And I don't know. It's
this is the same question which Janaka asked his guru, and he said, is dream where I am a king, is that a reality, or is it where I'm a beggar is reality, or when in the waking state I'm a king? What is the reality? You see, the thing is that the dream is pratibhasika satyam. It is one level of reality. Waking is another level of reality. But both this dream and waking have got no substance in it. Both
dream and waking. Both.
Dream and waking both have no substratum on which they can be independent without me, the I, the pure consciousness, which is the substratum for both.
Okay.
The way you should try to resolve your experiences is, who was witnessing the dream? Who is witnessing the throat? Who is witnessing that friend? The witness, consciousness, observer is the truth.
Okay.
Whatever seen is mithya.
Whatever is experienced or seen is
Whatever
mithya.
experienced is not real.
The
experiencer is the reality.
Okay.
Whatever you may experience in dream, whatever you may experience in the waking, whatever it may be, joy, sorrow, passions, this, so many things we experience.
Yeah.
So many emotions we experience during the waking state.
Yes.
I feel like crying sometimes. I feel like loving sometimes. I feel, betrayed sometimes. Sometimes I feel angry. Sometimes all these are only emotions.
Yeah.
They are only emotions of the mind which is expressing in the world. That's all. Yeah. And it is being experienced because of your prarabdha karma. There is some law which is telling that this is what you should experience tomorrow. That's it. It is a law of this world, of this waking world. There is a law.
Okay.
You see, for the sleep world, there is a law. What is the law? I do not know. I am the waker.
Okay.
So ignorance of the waker is the sleeper. Ignorance of the waker is the dreamer. So ignorance of the Atma is this entire Jagat.
Yes.
All experience, you call it as Jagat, that's all. Whether it is dream, waking, sleep, all this is one Jagat, one cosmos.
Right. And the witness of that is...
Yes.
Right.
I am that pure conscious self. That is what Upanishad is going to teach us.
Okay.
Next week, we are going to start Kaivalya Upanishad. You will start learning about this one consciousness, which is the substratum of the entire universe.
Okay. A tactical question about the prarabdha karma and all. Where can I access material on it? Because I think I missed.
No need
classes.
to. You just when we do these classes, you will come to know about all this.
Okay.
It is a part and parcel of the teaching itself.
Right. Right.
It will come. All this prarabdha karma, what is prarabdha karma, what is sanchita karma, what is agami karma, all I will be explaining when I'm taking the Upanishad classes.
Right.
Whenever it comes, there will be sessions when I will be going to the depth of all this.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Anything? Okay. So if you have no other questions.
Shekharji, sorry.
Yeah. Uma, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Shekharji, I was thinking if we have Adhyasa in one hand, we also hold that Sarvam Brahmamayam.
Yes.
Okay. So we do have to take both into account. As I know you're always telling me that we shouldn't bring this to our normal day-to-day life. But
No. See, whenever we are interacting with the world, we should remember that it is with Adhyasa, with superimposition.
Yes.
So don't worry. That means, see, the thing is, Sarvam Brahmamayam is when you want to know what is the reality. What is all this happening? Suppose this question comes to you, at that time you should answer that question with this knowledge. Everything is Brahman. Everything is coming and going and rising. Everything is in this pure consciousness. Everything is happening.
Yes.
It is not separate. The world is not separate from me, the consciousness. Ultimately, it is non-dual. You see, that principle of non-duality you should keep in mind. The Brahma Satyam, Sarvam Brahma is only to be used when you want to, when the question comes in your mind, why all this is happening, why this sorrow, why, that time only you...
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to ask. Like, if I were to encounter an angry person,
yes.
So should I remove that guna, which is on the Adhyasa at that moment? So I should
No, you can't do that, because your nature will force you to act in a certain way. But if you are careful, because of this study, if you are able to bring that alertness in your mind, you know, this person is angry now, I should not also become angry and, if you are able to be alert at that time, then of course you can use this study.
Yes, exactly. You are saying the things that I really wanted to ask just now. Yes. When I have the time, I know sometimes we are caught off guard and then, you know, we lose the cool.
Yes.
But when I have the time, just before I approach this person, then I can apply all this.
Yes,
knowledge.
You can. Yes, definitely you can apply, because that is where this knowledge will be useful to us in the day-to-day life.
Okay, great. Yes, that's really helping a lot. Thank you so much, Shekharji. We owe a lot to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Uma. Okay, very good question and answer session. I'm very happy that all of you have enjoyed these sessions, because it makes a difference. And also, you see, I'm seeing how people are using this knowledge in their day-to-day life. You see, that is a very, very useful thing. You see, as you grow in this knowledge, the most important thing which will happen to you, and it happens very soon to many people when they come to this spirituality, is they can separate the mind and themselves. See, you start seeing your mind very clearly as Sakshi. I am Sakshi. I am aware of these thoughts in me. I am aware of these emotions in me. That awareness comes to me. That is a brilliant achievement in life. Many people who are not in this knowledge field, they are sinking in their emotions. They are sinking in their sorrow, and they think that sorrow is just a part and parcel of life, and they have no other way to come out of it. This is a most important feeling. You start developing a notion in yourself. I think I can control my life. I can control my reactions in my life. Because I know that there is some distance between me, the Sakshi, and my mind. Whatever you my experience. I see in the TV some things happening. I read the newspaper, some things happening. I experience some sorrow in somebody's life. I experience all this. You will find that you are able to handle. And why you are able to handle is because you have developed that inner feeling of seeing yourself different in your mind. This can never come without the knowledge of the scriptures. This is one of the very, very important aspects of learning the Bhagavad Gita, learning these Upanishads. Again and again, when you hear, there is Atma, there is Atma, there is pure consciousness. That is reality, that is reality. What happens is, my Jiva Bhava, that I am the individual suffering in this world, that will come down. And that gives me fulfillment in life. That gives me more joy in life. So these are all practical benefits of this study. It will come to each one of us. It will come automatically. You don't have to do anything because that is how this whole process is. Okay, thank you very much. We'll see you all next week with Kaivalya Upanishad.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you, Shekharji. Good night.
Thank you and good night.